Hello and welcome back to another Runaway American UK edition video. For those of you who are new, my name is Kelly. I am a runaway American. I have left the States and I have been living overseas in Thailand currently, but before that I was living in Europe for 6 years. I would love to move to the UK, but unfortunately the visas are quite extensive and difficult to qualify for. So I make videos about the UK because I really enjoy the UK. So today we're going to be watching average American versus average British person. How do they compare? People comparison. It's a very long title, but it's just America versus UK. Like, what is the average? What is the average person like, right? So I don't really know. Let's just get into it and I'll share my thoughts along the way if I have anything to add. If not, I'll wait until the video's over and give you my thoughts.
World today are the United States of America and the United Kingdom of Great Britain, with both countries considering their bilateral partnership to be the strongest of bonds. The British-American bloodline runs deep, with millions of Americans identifying themselves as having either English, Scottish, Welsh, or Scotch-Irish ancestry. Given these close ties, we thought it would be fun to compare these two powerful nations in this episode of the infographic show, The Average American versus the Average Brit. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell button so that you can be part of our notification squad. First of all, we should explain what the United Kingdom of Great Britain is, as it's often an area of confusion. When we talk about the UK, we are referring to the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, which is a sovereign state consisting of 4 countries: England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. The average Brit we are discussing today is someone from the UK. In terms of ancestral relations, according to a Census Bureau American Community Survey, nearly 27 million people identified as being part English, over 5.5 million said Scottish, about 5 million said Scotch-Irish, and nearly 2 million said Welsh. Although Irish and German Americans make up larger portions of the US public, it's thought—
I feel like I'm just adding this in right now. You guys can tell me if you don't feel this way. But everyone that I've ever met is just like, you're American. Stop saying that you're like part Irish or part English or part this. Like, we're mutts. You know, we're American and we're mutts. Like, we have ancestry that is like mutts. Like, my grandmother was Lithuanian, like 100% Lithuanian from Lithuania. So, you know, she was Lithuanian. So she could say like, I'm Lithuanian. Whereas like, you know, my dad, obviously, who is her son, is half Lithuanian, but that doesn't really matter because he's not, you know what I'm saying? He was American and he was half Lithuanian and also like Irish, English, all this stuff, like, you know, thrown in there. So if I was going by my ancestry, which no one is asking when they ask you, like, where are you from? And, or like, what, like, oh, what are you? Or some, which is just such a weird question to ask anyone anyways. But like, if you say like, what are you? Most of the time they're asking you like, are you American? Are you English? Are you Welsh? Are you Scottish? And if you're American, your answer is American. It's not, I'm a bit Welsh. I'm a bit Scottish. But yes, if someone asked me what my ancestry was, I can say like, I'm Lithuanian. I'm mostly Irish and Lithuanian. I have a little bit of English thrown in there. That's it. And a little tiny bit.
Although Irish and German Americans make up larger portions of the US public, it's thought there are a lot more Americans that have Brit blood flowing through their veins but no longer consider themselves being anything other than a full-blooded American. With this in mind, we'll start with some comparisons of a physical nature. The average Brit stands just a fraction taller than the average American, with the BBC lately reporting that the average man in the UK is now 5 feet 10 inches and the average woman is 5 feet 5 inches. American men average 5 feet 9.5 inches and American women 5 feet 3.5 inches. Both countries are considered to be not so well proportioned when compared to other more developed nations, with a new report from the Institute of Health Metrics and Evaluation stating that the USA is in 18th place on the world's most obese nations list. Only Egypt was the other populous nation in the top 20 countries, which was filled mostly by countries in the South Pacific. The UK, however, might also need to get in shape, with reports stating that obesity is a national tragedy and that by 2025 the UK will be the fattest country in Europe. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's latest report, the average American male is now 195.7 pounds and the average woman is 168.5 pounds. The average British man is 186.2 pounds and the average woman is 154 pounds. Does the fact both countries are perhaps on the heavy side influence life expectancy? American men on average will live to 77.11 years and American women 81.94. Citizens of the United Kingdom can expect to clock out at a similar age on average, with male life expectancy standing at 79.1 and female life expectancy 82.8. The median age, meaning half the country is older and half the country younger, is 37.8 in the USA for men and women, and right on 40 in the UK. Which country is making more babies at the moment? Current statistics state that the US and UK are similar here, with births per woman in America averaging 1.84 and in the UK 1.9. Marriage rates have decreased in many developed nations over the last few decades. According to the CDC, in 2015, 6.8 people per 1,000 of the total population tied the knot in the USA, while in the UK that number was 4.5 per 1,000. Around 42% of UK marriages end in divorce, with almost half of US marriages ending the same way. On that sobering note, we'll take a look at money matters. In terms of industry, both nations are considered champions of the world, but according to the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe, the USA citizen grosses a higher salary than the average UK person. The average gross salary in the USA was the 5th highest in the world at $4,893 per month, while the UK sat in 14th place on the list with an average of $3,461 per month. In terms of cost of living, Americans might need the few extra dollars, with one report putting the USA in 18th place in the world on a cost of living index and the UK in 29th place. We must also note that cost of living and wages can change dramatically from city to city. If we take a look at the economics Big Mac index, we find that the cost of a Big Mac in the US is $5.06, while the Brits only pay $3.73. At the same time, the index shows someone in London has to work on average 1 minute longer than someone in New York to buy the same burger. At the high end of the earnings scale, the US is home to the richest man on the planet, Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates, whose fortune...
He's obviously older, because now it's Elon Musk now, right? Or is it Bezos? I don't remember. But yeah, we have a lot of billionaires. It's not necessarily a good thing. It's kind of like not a great thing for us, but yeah, we do. As far as like cost of living index goes, I know this to be like a fact because of the fact that you guys pay taxes and your taxes actually go towards something instead of just your military. Obviously it goes towards your military, but it also goes through like funding education, funding like healthcare. Ours are also like we pay taxes and I have no idea what they're going to, but we also have to pay out a crap ton of money for health insurance each month, as well as like when we go to the doctor, we also have to pay co-pays. Hospital stays are extremely expensive. If you want your kid to go to a school where it's like a bit safer and a bit nicer, you got to pay for private school. So like these are like, because we don't really have like a great infrastructure for our public school systems either, especially since now our like public school, well, our Department of Education is being shut down, but it currently is being run by like a WWE person. So that can kind of like allude you to the fact that our education system is probably not the best, which is again why I started this channel, to learn more about like countries outside of mine so I can be maybe a bit less ignorant than my fellow Americans. Sorry, fellow Americans that may be watching this, you should do the same.
Earnings scale, the US is home to the richest man on the planet, Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates, whose fortune amounts to around $87 billion. The richest person in the UK is actually listed as two brothers, who are part of the Hinduja family. Their net worth is around $16.9 billion, according to Forbes. In total, there are 134 billionaires based in the UK, according to the Sunday Times, while the USA has the most billionaires in the world at 565. What do Americans and Brits get for all their hard work? Well, the Brits don't work as hard, according to one study that divided the total number of hours actually worked by the average number of people in employment per year. The USA was 16th on the list at 34.40 hours per week, and the UK was 24th on the list at 32.25 hours per week. The Brits also get more time off, with workers by law given 5.6 weeks of paid vacation time per year. In the US, there is no such law, and paid time off is an agreement made between the employer and the employee. The average paid days off in the US is said to be about 10 days, with that number increasing with the number of years in a certain job. The UK has less public holidays, though, at 8 days, with the US enjoying 10 national public holidays.
Ooh, 10 national public holidays. Yeah, again, I'll state for this, I have worked many jobs in the United States. When I was a teacher, I got a lot of time off, obviously, because you're working in teaching jobs. However, most of the time I did work other jobs during the summer because I was a teacher's assistant, not a teacher in the United States. In Europe, I was a teacher. But in the US, because I didn't have a degree, like I didn't have a certificate in education, I just had a degree. Like I couldn't be like an actual teacher yet. Sorry. But in the US on a job that wasn't teaching, I did have 10 paid vacation days. And because my employer also was like, okay, but we're also going to take a vacation, we just won't pay you for it. So I got 10 paid vacation days and 10 unpaid vacation days. But I was like lucky because I actually still got like time off. In Hungary, when I worked as a teacher there, I think it was 6 weeks or 8. It was 6 to 8 weeks vacation. I can't remember the exact amount, but and my boss was like, you have to take the entire month of August off. Like, no one works in August here. So yes, take the month of August off. And I'm just like, what, why? Go on vacation. I don't care. I loved it though. I was like, that's fantastic. So nice. Cause you feel so relaxed. Everything is so nice. In the US, it's just like work.
Less public holidays, though, at 8 days, with the US enjoying 10 national public holidays. Americans may work harder, but they also seem to be getting more for their buck. While the British public have been dealing with drastically increasing property prices, they also live in very small abodes. Studies have found that Britain's houses on average are some of the smallest in Europe at around 818 square feet. American citizens on average can enjoy much larger living areas, with the average house size being around 2,160 square feet. The US also has more in terms of vehicle ownership. America is third on the list of number of vehicles owned per 1,000 people, at 797, excluding motorcycles and anything else on two wheels. The UK lies in 34th place on the same list with 519 vehicles per 1,000 people. Rising property prices, expensive cars, what does this mean in terms of borrowing money? Household debt statistics, which is measured by all money owed to financial institutions, whether it be for a house or a BMW, has both the UK and the US in the top 10 countries of the world. For 2016, the UK was in 6th place on the household debt list and the US not far behind in 7th place. UK citizens looking for a higher education and a good start in life might also have to take on a lot of debt before they actually embark on a career. While much of Europe enjoys a free ride or low-cost higher education, England is now said to be the most expensive place in the world to get a college degree. The latest reports state UK nationals attending an English university can expect annual tuition to be $11,715 compared to the $9,410 Americans pay on average.
That's bull. That's not right. I don't know where they got those statistics because I've never heard of an institution. I mean, maybe if you're going to a community college, that's not even state college tuition. Maybe this was like really a long time ago, but I went to a state college in Pennsylvania. I went to Penn State, and my tuition was $21,000 a year. So I don't know where they're getting their statistics from, but $21,000 is the least amount you'll pay, especially because you also have to pay for books, dorm, meals. Yeah, $21,000. And most people go to liberal arts colleges because they can't, state schools are harder to get into because you pay less. So a lot of people go to liberal arts and private colleges. So my cousin, for instance, her tuition was $45,000 a year. When I went to law school, my law school was $50,000 a year. When I originally started in the American Musical and Dramatic Academy before transferring to Penn State, my tuition was $42,000 a year. So again, I do not believe these statistics. Maybe you guys can tell me in the UK, is it extra? I didn't know that though. I thought the UK was like Europe where you got a reduced tuition rate. But you guys can let me know in the comments. I had no idea about that the higher education costs that much, but I don't know unless they're going to Podunk University in the US where you're paying $9,000. I do not know.
Per year. On average, the class of 2016 in the USA owed around $37,172 in loans, while students graduating from a university in England could expect to owe as much as something in the region of $40,000 to $55,000. Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland all have cheaper university tuition fees, or no tuition fee for Scottish people studying in Scotland.
Okay.
Students may still have to borrow to study, though, with a recent report by the Student Loans Company stating the average student debt in Northern Ireland and Scotland was around $26,000 and $15,000 respectively. The Welsh have part of their tuition fees paid for by the Welsh government, but students still rack up debts on average of around $24,000. UK citizens may take some comfort in matters of healthcare, with most costs covered by Britain's National Health Service. Americans are not so fortunate, with an article in The Atlantic this year stating that more than a quarter of Americans said that someone in their household was struggling to pay off crushing medical debts. With that, we come to the end of today's show. Head on over to the comment section to let us know which country you'd rather live in and why. And if you like this video, be sure to check out our other video called Americans versus Europeans. Thanks for watching.
Very interesting. The college debt thing, I would be really interested to hear if that is still the same, because this was 10 years ago. So I don't know if UK has grown exponentially to the same amount, to the same degree. They did say it was England though, right? That was the case, because they said Northern Ireland, I don't know if they said Northern Ireland was partially paid for, but they said Wales was partially paid for, and Scotland, they actually like let you go to school for free, but you still have to pay for living, which is normal. I feel like the only place I've ever heard that you don't have to do that is like Denmark or Sweden. I can't remember which, but it's a Scandinavian country that actually like pays for you to go to school, basically. Very smart. It's a great way to get people to be educated. Like, I'd have 3 master's degrees by now. Be like, I'll just stay in school forever. I liked school. It was quite nice. So I would continue with it. Yeah, very interesting video. As far as housing size differences, I do like it said, well, your house is made of wood. It's like, yeah, because ours like just fall down at the drop of a hat. Like, someone showed a video of like a guy like punching a wall in like the US, or like, and the wall just like gives, right? But in the UK and all over Europe, it was like, you break your hand, it hurts, because it's like concrete. It's quite, yeah, it's like they're more sturdy. I did notice in Europe, when I was living in Europe, that the houses are a bit, like a lot smaller, not even just a bit, a lot smaller, because I've never even lived in a 2,000 square foot house. Like I think the smallest place that I've ever lived in the United States was 2,600 square feet, maybe. So like that's like quite small in my opinion, like for an American house. Granted, except when I lived in the city or something, then yes, I did have smaller apartments. But I think that that's part of the thing, maybe, is that a lot of these are like villages or like townhomes. They're like detached houses. They're not just like massive houses sitting on like wide open land. I mean, I know those also exist in the UK. I'm not stupid. I've seen Downton Abbey. No. No, I'm joking. I know that that's not what the normal house looks like manor or something. But I just think like most of the time, at least, like suburbs are not as big in the UK as they are in the US. Same with that explains why there's more drivers, like why there's more cars. It's not because like we're so much richer that we can all afford to buy cars. It's because like you don't necessarily need it for transportation, because you can either go to like, you could walk on foot to your local village, or you have more transportation options. And in the United States, unless you live in a major city, there is no transportation. You are taking a car to go everywhere you need to go. There's no way that you're doing it otherwise. Whereas I've been to UK villages, like I've been to like places where like, you know, the houses are maybe like a 10 or 15 minute walk to the nearest village that has like a supermarket, and it has a pharmacy, it has like a small bank, it has a pub. Like I've been to these. I don't know how plentiful they are, but that's how it was in France as well. When I lived in France, like I lived in a village, and I didn't have a car because I could walk. It was like a 20-minute walk to the nearest supermarket. I could go to the bakery. I could go to, like, if I needed to get somewhere, I would call a cab, and it would take me like 15 minutes or something to the biggest, like to a bigger village. But everything I needed on my day-to-day was in the small village. So I don't know if that's the case, but for me, I always think that the UK is a better life. I just do. I know that it's probably like the grass is always greener on the other side, right? But I'm sure you guys feel the same way too. Is there anyone here who's like watching this that's like, oh, I'd love to live in the United States? Maybe you would. I don't know. I can give you some tips on where you would want to live if you did live there. But yeah, let me know in the comments, like, do you think the Brits, or like, do you think the UK has it better? I'm sure most of you will probably say yes. Okay. See you next time. Please don't forget to like this video, and if you want more videos like this one, please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification button. I am the Runaway American. This is the UK edition. Signing off. Bye-bye.